They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned. Straight up. Look, I came into this world in 1978. The doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane though, far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I'd have mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in '01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth. I'm OG King Kirk, Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend. Let's work.
Welcome to OG 2 Cents. This is OG King Kirk speaking. Today, this is my first episode, and basically, I want to talk about something that's been going on in the community for, I guess, the last couple seasons, as far as like the understanding about what it does take to get drafted for the NBA 2K League. You know, basically, throughout the years, you know, dating back from 2015, from the birth of the NPBA and the WR, you know, that was basically the two powerhouse competitive scenes, and basically where all the amateurs got a chance to brush up their talent and compete against the best. Now, over the years, you know, now that we have a 2K League, you know, it's pretty much known that the NPBA and the WR and some of the upcoming leagues are basically where you needed to play to display your talent, you know, no matter if you got into the draft pool or not. I think, you know, a lot of people look at what they call the buddy-buddy system, or, you know, I guess I read lately it was about, you know, leagues monopolizing everything and different stuff like that. And like I said before, a lot of the leagues were free in the beginning, so it was never about money. It was just about the love of the game and, you know, just the passion of playing 2K. So, like, you know, it's just like those leagues are used like college, so to speak. It's you know, the prelude before you get to the league. And I think now it should be understood that, you know, it's not a perfect system that we have. I think pretty much a lot of people would be in agreement about that. But basically, it's the only system we have, so it's what we have to use. You know, you can play the game casually. You can, you know, be a combine warrior, and you know, and all of that. But if we never get to see players, you know, play against the best, what do we have to gauge? You know, like, what can we compare it to? You know, we all know it's a difference between casual and competitive. You know, for me, this some simple steps that I think that everybody, you know, every up-and-coming player should go by is, you know, build your resume. And then building your resume is pretty much, you know, make sure you have an active, you know, Twitter account that has your gamer tag and has different accolades or different things that you've done in every league that you played upon. Don't let the community dictate what you do. You know, you don't get drafted together. You get if you're able to get drafted, you get drafted by yourself. So basically, you know, you shouldn't let the opinions of others dictate what you do and what you don't do. You know, like I said, you know, put your accolades in it. Post screenshots. I've told people screenshots are daily pro-am newspapers. How do we know what you're doing if we never see it? And that's the big misconception is, you know, now obviously if the games don't count or it's not during, you know, league play or tournament play, of course those are going to get frowned upon. But, you know, you have to get into those leagues and get into the seasons and get into the tournaments. in order to get that type of recognition. And sometimes it's not always about whether you win or whether you lose. It's how well did you play. I mean, it's a team game. You can only do so much as an individual player. You can't make an impact one way or the other. It's not always about scoring points or doing anything like that. But basically, like I said, post screenshots, build up your resume through what you do in leagues and in tournaments. Like this past season, post pre-draft, we had an opportunity where top tier leagues open up their platform for weekly tournaments on both consoles. So that was another big venue, amongst others. But I'm saying they rose to the occasion for pre-draft, and those are the type of advantages that you need to you need to adhere to them, and you need to use them and utilize them. Plus, in that, their motto is a league for the players, tournaments for the players, by the players. Then basically you'll be competing against pros, ex pros, and some of the top tier talent that didn't make it into the league years prior. I think I had mentioned earlier about like the buddy system, where I've always been torn in between it because I've been around for a while, and like I've seen players who they didn't have a big name and they wasn't a part of any system or anything. They came on the scene. They made their presence known, build their reputation up, and then some of these players that stand tall today, that you would consider in the buddy or whatever, they earn their keep, and it's a slew of players like that, and most of the time your play is what's going to dictate everything. I don't care what you tweet. I don't care how cool you are with somebody, who you playing with, or anything like that. I mean, it's all about, can you play the game? That's the first thing that's going to get you, on the map is, can you play? And the positions, that doesn't always matter. Of course, we always know the PG and the center is two of the most impactful positions beyond sharps and power forwards and lockdowns and things of that nature. But I mean, it's just how well do you do what you do? And I've seen players who, a lot of them get a bad rap, but they want to win, and they're competitive, and a lot of things come with that. Some players are quiet and get the job done. Some players are loud and get the job done. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's about what can you do. The other thing is about building connections and getting to know top tier players, mid tier players, and even the lower tier players. I mean, we all have to start from somewhere, but getting to know players and getting to know GMs and coaches, and sometimes you have to make that sacrifice. I know when the league was first starting out, I attended every event that every team had, and and I thought it was a great opportunity to meet players and meet coaches and GMs that mainly the players that over the years that I've known, which seems like an eternity at that time, but just to be able to meet and conversate with them and talk in person and share my gratitude as well as they did to me, and and LT and Big West and everything like that. But let's put a face with a gamer tag. Let's put a personality with a gamer tag. We gotta stop making excuses. Period, because all of us who strive to be in the league, and some of those who are still striving to be in the league, you're going to have to make a sacrifice somewhere down the line. I mean, I'm living in New York half the year, and I have kids still back here in Ohio. So, everything comes with a cost. It's just about how much are you willing to pay. I mean, if every player that I've seen that go through the journey, Yeah, they had jobs, they had kids, they had other responsibilities, but they chased after their dream, and they made it a reality, and that's pretty much what it comes down to. If you somebody right now that's out there, and you feel like nobody knows who you are, you feel like you're getting overlooked or it's favoritism or anything like that, you have to ask yourself, what have you done? Like, what have you done to truly stand out? Here we are going into season 3, and it's players that played season 1, and then when season 2 came around, they wasn't in the league, and then now some of those who set out after after not participating in season 2, they were hungry, and I'm sure a lot of those players will be making a run to be back in on season 3, and I'm sure that type of revolving door is going to keep going on, because let's not mention that once you do everything that it does take to get to the league, you have to stay there. You have to work harder to stay there. And that goes for all involved. We can't just be happy with the thrill of making it to the league and that's it. Like, I think after a while nobody's going to be above getting cut or not getting retained, not getting protected, not getting redrafted. Like, that's just the harsh reality of it. I mean, that's why you have to hold on to this opportunity that we have, because at this moment, out of the millions that play 2K and out of the thousands that have shown interest in trying to become a pro, there's only hundreds, 100, and 20 plus they're able to say that they're a pro 2K player. So I think with that kind of with those kind of numbers and the people that are striving to make the league every year, you definitely have to stay on top of your game and keep working and don't be satisfied. Only one team is going to win, but you have to work every day to keep your job. So it's like like I was saying, is this basically, if you feel shunned out, you really have to look at yourself. Stop crying on Twitter. Stop crying in the DMs. Stop tagging everybody like you really don't truly grasp what's going on. Like I said, our system is far from being perfect, and I think it's something that the league strives for every year to improve. And and I'm gonna keep supporting that. I mean, because it's not easy. It's not you're never gonna satisfy everybody in 2K. I mean, that even starts with our game. Like, everybody, you're gonna have half that's satisfied with the game, and then you have another half that's not. Like, the numbers flip all the time. At the end of the day, Comp said numerous of times is, we have to play the game that's in front of us, and then doing that, everybody has to just excel at it. I mean, crying about it is not going to get us anywhere. That goes for the same in retail and the same, during the league, during the season. I mean, you have to play what's in front of you. And I think that's critical to it all. I mean, I look and I've been reading on Twitter and seeing everything that's been going on, like I said, the last week or so. You have to take it's not the end all. If you make the draft pool one year and you don't get drafted or anything, like it's you don't give up, like you don't quit. It goes back to, like, me and LT participated in the first season for a short stint with a league team, and we didn't have a big role or a major impact like we wanted to, and we didn't stop. Like, we just kept doing what we were doing in the beginning, and we said if it was meant to be, then it would be. And that's just the type of faith that we had, and we didn't take anything for granted, and we didn't slack on it or nothing like that. We just stayed with it, and that's really the mindset and attitudes that I really wish that the 2K community would have as a whole, because at the end of the day, for the most part, everybody's competitive at the higher level and the pro level, but we all want to root, see others succeed one way or the other. Yeah, it gets testy. I mean, that's sports. I don't think you've never been in a competitive environment if it doesn't get a little testy here and there. But at the end of the day, most of the time it's all love, and we root for each other, and we dap it up and keep it moving. I mean, because they know that's the type of a nature that exists in any type of competitive sport or anything like that. So I truly think that that's the way it should be. I really, like I said, I want everybody to really have a full understanding that, like I said, playing in the amateur leagues, in the tournaments, it's not, you're not paying an arm and a leg to participate in most of the events. And really, even leading into that is what you want to do is find some stable individuals that have basically the same attitude and mindset you have in trying to pursue the league, and so you can stay consistent with playing and getting better and having that continuity together to be able to display your talents at a high level. I think we witnessed that during pre-draft when it was a group of guys who played together basically in all of the league events. And pretty much most of those guys will probably be hearing their name called, on February 22nd. And it's we have to throw that pride and ego to the side sometimes in order to accomplish the goal that you're trying to, obtain. I mean, and I think, we gotta, when you playing with people and playing with players that are about winning and about getting better. Because they're willing to do whatever it takes to win. You can tell when somebody, when a PG is not passing or anything. Like, you can tell when people are playing for numbers. You can see that. And at the end of the day, you won't win. You won't win a lot of games like that, or you won't win the big games like that. I've watched over the years where you have, a PG like Fab that can dominate the game without even scoring. And if those are the type players that ultimately we look at as some of the greatest that play the game, and because they're about winning, and that's truly when you, like I said, when you get to the league, winning is the most important as far as when you get on that stage, because winning equates to dollars. And I don't know anybody that's striving to make the league to not win and not get any money. And I think that's enough. That should be enough to want to change your mindset, at least in that aspect of it. Outside of that, when we talk about, we always talk about this this word that got thrown around a million times. In the first season about marketability. I mean, basically, it's a market for everything. It's just a matter of who wants to market you. What do you have that's appealing and attractive that organizations see value in you? What that goes with personality, how your image and how you're portrayed, and how you project it, and the angles that you take to achieve the attention that goes into who you are. And I think that's something that's been totally misleading at times. Like, it goes into a whole nother word that we say, toxic. And it's such a fine line with the toxic word. I mean, basically, it's some players who are emotional and they express it. And, that's just how it is. Now, I mean, me personally, I've never even pretty much used the word toxic, because I know most of the time from what I see is that a player that you watch that you may quote unquote say is toxic, if you played with them and you truly got to know them and understand who they are as a person, you probably wouldn't say that. You know, anybody watching from the bleachers, you know, can say anything. They, you know, it's one of those things, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, type things. Like, you know, from afar, it can look like anything. But if you get up close and really get to see it and hear it and understand it, it's something totally different. And me personally, you know, after experiencing some, you know, a season like I want players that show some care and some charisma and some attitude that's obviously projected the right way. And when I say the right way, it just means, you know, nothing out of bounds or disrespectful, to the point that it creates unwanted attention. But you need that fire. And as I'm telling you, it's a whole different vibe from sitting and playing the game at your house and versus being on the stage and your opponent is right across from you and is going to do and say anything to try to throw you off your game. So you need that energy to sustain for the whole game. And because most of the time, you know, 2K is a momentum game, and as well as when you competing live, if you add that, you know, the fact that it's the momentum game, and then the impact, the trash talking and the crowd and everything like that, you know, you're gonna need all the energy you can have. And I think that's important. So like I said, you know, crossing the lines of really trying to figure out what's between passion and toxic. I think I pretty much touched on, you know, the initial thoughts of the amateur scene, you know, as far as getting into the pro scene, the buddy, the marketability, the toxic. And then the other thing is as far as like, you know, I see, like when we talk about Twitter, I mean, I remember a time where all we had was Facebook. And when you want to say toxic, if you think Twitter is toxic now, you have no idea what toxic is if you wasn't in the Facebook chat and the groups. As a matter of fact, the MPBA Facebook page still exists. I think it's like 8,000 people, close to 8,000 people in there or something like that. And I'm telling you, when you had a bad game, you know, you felt it. Probably your whole family felt it and beyond. I mean, it was no holds bar, you know, just take your head off. And I'm not alone when I say this, I'm sure. Like, I miss those days because now, you know, people are caught in between whether they don't know how to be. You know, we don't know if we seeing the real of somebody or we seeing the fake. You know, luckily for me, when I came on the scene, I played a lot, but I realized my calling after a while was more like, you know, organized and running and operating leagues and tournaments. But, you know, I pretty much been the same person from the start. And, you know, most can't say that, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, it has to be some type of growth somewhere in between there. Like, I mean, you know, of course, nothing stays the same. If it does, it's probably not any good unless it's something that was great from the beginning. And we all know that most of the time that doesn't always, things doesn't always happen like that. You're lucky if it does. So basically what I'm saying is like, yeah, most of the kids and young adults that I see now that's still playing or that's in the league or that's been in the league for the duration, you know, they were kids when they started competing at the amateur level. And now they've, you know, grown into young adults and some, you know, make changes. I mean, in life, that's what happens. That's really a big sign of growth more than anything. And I think that's something that shouldn't be shamed upon. Like, I mean, who wants to stay the same forever? Obviously, here we are going into the third season. If I'm somebody who's been trying to make the league since the first season, and I've been the same person before the league started, and now I've been the same person since the league started, I haven't got anywhere close to where I want to be. Why would I not want to make some type of changes? And that's why I say, mentioned it earlier, like, you can't let people in the community, dictate who you are and where you're trying to go. I mean, because if you do that, I think it goes into, I read something, I think it was a couple of days ago, where basically once you start letting people dictate your thoughts and everything like that, they control you. You're no longer yourself. And I think that's where we at. That's the state of where we at right now. Is that people are scared to, probably, terrified of opening up and really being who they are. It takes a few strong players in the community to let people know it's okay to be who you are. I've seen players blossom. I mentioned Fab before, but I mean, like Fab, we used to think he was a robot because we never seen or heard from him or anything like that. And, and he blesses his coach, Rico, all the time about, his growth and development as a person. Not, forget the part about playing the game. He's helped them tremendously as a person off the stage and everything like that. And now, we see a lot from Fab, and we hear a lot from Fab, and, he makes Twitter, an interesting place to be at times, and that's cool. And that's what we should be doing beyond just the game aspect of it is helping each other grow. Not being scared that somebody will pass you up because maybe they're better at you in certain phases of trying to become a better player or, a better asset to the league or different things like that. I think we got a chance to witness tremendous growth. I'll throw some examples out here where basically I saw where, like, Slay didn't make the league the first season. And he went in post-draft and he kept playing. He YouTubed, he Twitched, got his numbers up and everything like that. And he made his presence known in those spaces. And then, lo and behold, season 2, he's in there. And that's the type of approach that you need to take. That's the type of attitude that you should have. The same, like, here we are. I mean, people... I always look at it, because I'm a little older. I didn't get the OG title. I just think for nothing. But it's like kids make mistakes. Like, for that fact, adults make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But I think at some point in time, like as we mature, we got to be able to reach back and acknowledge when kids and young adults make mistakes, that we don't badger them. We coach them up, whether in life, and build them up from that point. That's even going to say, like, everybody knows about Chalk and the videos and different things like that he made after he didn't make it. That was pure frustration. And unlike most people, I pretty much had a relationship with a lot of players that's ever, touched the sticks to playing pro-am. So I always took pride in getting to know players on a personal level and not just the game. And, you ask people about some of the things they do or some of the things they say, and instantly they would take it back. And a lot of things, just, you do things based off of, when you do things based off emotions, most of the time you're going to make a mistake. It's going to happen. But, here we are now, he took his, the park grind, the legend grind, and, blew up and had a newfound fame and a new part of the game. And here he is in the draft pool and different things like that. And, those are the type steps that you take. You want to do things that stand out. Like, it's going to come a point where it's not going to just be about what can you do while holding the controller in your hand. Like, you have to be an asset in a lot of different ways in order to maintain being relevant. And, that's why I'm going to always push myself to do more and to be more. And I think every player should have that approach. And, it's nothing wrong with stepping outside your comfort zone. I mean, esports is not just off playing the game. It's a lot of content driven, sponsorship driven. Players have to be able to sell it. And I'm not just saying like basically just try to be somebody that you're not. But you just have to be open to the fact that you are capable of doing more than what you do. We all are. And if we, it reminds me like one of my OGs used to tell me all the time is, what's the point of having a new suit if you keep it in the closet? And it's basically like, most of us have hidden talents that most people don't know about, or, different things that we want to do, but we're too afraid to do it, because we're worried about what somebody's going to say. And really, like I always used to say, is this, you don't worry about what everybody's going to say. You just worry about what the right people are going to say and how they're going to look at it. Most of the time, I'm always open to objective opinions and statements because it makes me think and it makes me look at myself. I don't put that much energy into worrying about what somebody else is saying to the point that I get distracted from whatever the goal is. And I think that happens way too much. So basically, like, just to wrap this up is, be who you are, and understand the room that you're in. Like, everybody that's competing for the league, you have to play competitively on the amateur scene. People have to know who you are. Like, it show other sides of you. Like the game aspect. You have to be good. I think, as far as from the scene that we're used to seeing, most of the talent, it's not, it's a few players here and there that didn't make the draft pool. But collectively, after this season, it's a lot of talent that eventually is what's going to happen is that, your resume of what you did while you were in the league is going to still be up there compared to what people are doing in Pro-Am. Now, what I'm saying is that if you have a player that, play like now, you have players that played in season 2 that didn't get retained and that are now in the draft pool. And their resume is basically stacking up to what they did in the league versus what you did in Pro-Am. Now, when that happens, now definitely you have to do something to separate yourself because you have one player that played in the league, played on the league build, know what the weekly grind is, the monthly grind is, is accustomed to being in the league and how it is. And then versus you have somebody who's a rookie who's never played on the league build, never played on the stage, not really been in the atmosphere of playing in the league. And I'm not saying that player can't get there or probably is not more ready than the other. I'm just saying we have 23 GMs, in the league. And every GM, for the most part, I'd have to say that, yes, a lot of us look at certain things the same, but we're not the same. So you want to be able to capture the attention of one of the 23 GMs in the league. That should be the ultimate goal. Like, that's what you have to do if you want to be on a roster. It only takes one to believe in you. But first, you have to believe in yourself and basically attack everything that I've mentioned throughout this podcast about, what it takes to get there, and what you need to do. And I think once as a whole we get that understanding, then it won't be so, everybody won't have to be mystified. And basically my reasoning for doing this is that it's a lot of people who don't know. Like they've never heard of playing in certain leagues, or didn't believe that you had to play in certain leagues. And I speak on basically just to touch on that a little bit more. I was on Twitter and I was going back and forth with somebody, and not going back. Everybody know I'm not going back and forth like that. But basically, he was saying there's a lot of players that was successful in the league that didn't play in the league, in leagues and different things like that. And I'm here to tell you, for the most part, it was an instance where basically in season 1, everybody who made the draft pool, they got drafted. So whether you played in the league or not, you got a chance to display your talents. And if you took advantage of that and you were successful, then you benefited greatly from that. And that's kudos to those players. Now beyond season 1, that probably slims a lot, because at that point it was more people in the draft pool that actually were spots that existed in the league. So that statement pretty much only exists for season 1. Beyond season 1, it's going to be about your resume and what you're doing in the off season and what you're doing pre-draft or post-draft if you don't get drafted or anything like that. And the league is going to stay innovative and keep coming up with new ways to keep the interest and to keep the competition going that will allow players to get into the pros. But I mean, you have to, first of all, if you want to be in the league, believe in the league, support the league. Trust that the league is trying. And like, once you know that something's not perfect, you don't attack it negatively. Like, it's either, it comes to a point, either you add to something or you taking away from it. Or sometimes you're doing simply nothing at all. So, I mean, I think we all, part of my reason for, doing this episode was basically I feel, and I got the inspiration from 2K comp games, because basically I feel like in our position, that we have had in the community, is that it's like an old responsibility to, new and upcoming players, or even some players that's been around, is, to share the knowledge that you do have and the experiences that you've had to help players, want to reach this level and keep trying it if they have it. Because unfortunately, it's a reality. Even for me, I mean, if I was to, not measure up to what my organization wants, and I was out the door, I mean, it happens. And you don't quit or you don't fold or anything like that. You keep pushing. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from your errors, and you keep going. And and you keep working at it. You don't, like I say, you don't quit and you don't give up. So I mean, this basically, at the end of the day, everybody keep working. I know, people mention about not getting interviews and, not having any at this point. It's still time left. It's still, we still have time. So, I mean, you never know what may happen. But the one thing about it, nobody wants to sit and get on Twitter and, keep, seeing complaints or being, totally objective and basically crying at the end of the day. You at some point you got to be stand up and like I said, just say, what can I do to organically, build my presence more than I have. And I think that's critical to take that approach. If you feel like you're somebody that's getting slept on, or you feel like not as known as other players, the thing about it, I wish players would look at it that sometimes it's your job to learn from other players. Not worry about if you're better than, but learn from them. And I think it can help you along the way. But with all that being said, is just basically keep pushing and keep grinding. And grinding is not just doing something for a day, a week, a month, or a year. Sometimes it takes years for certain people to get noticed or to blow up. We've all seen stories like that, so it exists. Most of us that's in a position like even like myself, we didn't see it. We didn't see it coming. We didn't, and then even when we did, we didn't expect nothing. It's about earning everything. And I'm no different than anybody else. If anybody had an opportunity to meet me or talk to me, or ask me questions or what, I judge myself tough. So if anybody has anything to say about me, I listen and try to recognize the truths or some things that I need to learn about myself. But other than that, I'm open to dialogue and to help. And because I constantly want to see improvement, not only, from myself or from my organization or from my team or my players, but just the community as a whole. And I think everybody that's involved in the league should want the best for the league. And that's truly, how growth starts. It's by everybody caring, not just, a few people. And don't let a few bad experiences, or anything like that you may encounter in the community or even from a league player or a coach or GM or, social media. It can be anybody, but don't let any, one bad moment, just have your, where you just have your mind made up about the community or the league or whatever. And, basically, that pretty much sums it up. Like I said, compete in the amateur leagues, make your presence felt, build the connections, learn from other players, and, have the right attitude and, hopefully things work out for you. But then, like I said, I understand it's a marathon at the end of the day. So I'd like to, thank everybody who hopefully you've learned something from this video. I'll be putting out more in the future. I'll also be doing some live broadcasts as well. But other than that, keep pushing. OG out.